Hello and welcome to my day 1 update progress for the Heist League. So it's currently just over 24 hours, 45 minutes passed since the league starts at 10 PM for me. Currently doing pretty good, we're level 88 and a bit. On top of that, our Atlas, once we do one more map here, we're gonna have 16 watchstones. So then we can just start doing 14 to 16 maps for pretty much the remainder of the league. As for my build, as leveled as Arc Mines, the exact same thing as last league, same passive tree and stuff that I talked about in the previous video. Pretty comfortable. I think it took me 5 hours and 10 minutes this time around to get to maps, and that's including all passives, quest and Merc Lab, which is a bit slower than usual, but I did also not play the game for about 2 months and did not practice at all, so I think it's still very acceptable. I'm pretty happy with that time. Then I did a couple of maps. I got to level 72 or 73 and then I decided to sleep. So I did sleep since the league usually starts very late for me, so I can't just stay up the whole time. After that we woke up, we continued mapping. We were still Arc Mines at the time, and I had the 4-link pyroclast mines for single target, which worked pretty good, and I could have just continued with that. But the main reason I switched to fireball mines was just simply because I wanted to play fireball. I've been playing Arc for a lot of leagues, and this time around I really wanted to try out fireball, especially with ball lightning getting nerfed as well. I decided to already make the switch to pyroclast. So fireball and pyroclast, I decided to make the switch since they kind of go together, and my idea was to also use flame wall, but so far I don't think the flame wall has been doing all too much. I do still cast it on bosses, but I don't think it's that beneficial for this type of build. Now I'm gonna quickly go over my setup. So the way I'm playing now is I have a weapon swap for my clear skill and my single target, which is not as clunky as it sounds, since pretty much what you want to do is, once you have the weapon swap, the only thing you need to press is X, which changes your weapons. You can of course change this hotkey, but what you also want to do first is you want to set everything else for your keybinds to be the same, and only your main skill to change. So as you can see, for me, it's just my main skill that changes. Having it this way set up is you will still always use the same key bindings. So what I mean by that is, for me, for example, right click is to throw my mines, and then 2 is to detonate them. Now if I weapon swap, I still right click to throw the pyroclast mines, and it's still 2 to detonate them. So this is a lot easier. So the only thing I go when I go to bosses is I press X, and then I just play the game again. Now the main reason to do this is since, first of all, you can get a 6-link very cheap, since you get a 6-link staff for about 10 chaos. If I could just go to the trade website here, just look for ME staff in non-unique. You want it 6-linked and not corrupted. Once you look, there are going to be 8-9 KLs, and there's quite a few. Now most of these that you're going to get now have a block chance implicit. Ideally you want the crit chance implicit, but now they're a bit more expensive since there's not that many listed. But you can look for crescent staff, for example. There's one for 20 chaos and then 80 chaos. As you can see, these prices pretty much go all over the place. The item level also doesn't matter. Mine is also only item level 37. So pretty much what you do is I use a Screaming Essence of Woe. Essences ignore the item level, so you just get 100% spell damage, pretty much guaranteed. And then if I didn't have the crit chance for spells here, I would have crafted crit chance for spells. But since I do, I just crafted some flat fire dispels to get a bit of extra damage, which is good enough. And then you have a 6-link as well, which pretty much cost me 12 chaos. So for the setup, I have Fireball, Minefield, GMP, High Impact Mine, Inspiration, and Fork. Now I'm still messing around a lot with the gems, which is why I'm not posting a POB for this build, since I'm still trying a lot of things out, switching gems around and even main skills. I have a Glacial Cascade here I'm leveling as well. But these are the gems for now. Ideally I did want Trap and Mind Damage here instead of Inspiration, but I did not have the colors. And then for my weapon swap, Trap and Mind Damage, Fire Pen, Conk Effect, Minefield, and Pyroclast Mine. Again, the Fire Pen was not my ideal gem here. I kind of want Ellie Focus, so I will probably recolor this for another blue to use Ellie Focus instead. But for now, even red maps, this is good enough for now. The rest of my gear is very bad. Just life and a little bit of resist everywhere, some move speed on the boot. as you can see, the one thing that's pretty good is the body, which I paid 4 chaos for, since I don't need any links in my body. I could just get a lot of life and resist on this. And the rest of my gems, Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, Smoke Mine. This Glacial Cascade is just for leveling. Flame Wall here. Like I said, I use it on bosses, but it's, I think, pretty optional since I don't think it does much at all currently. And I have Herald of Ash, sorry. With Skitterbolts are the 2 auras I'm using currently. I'm not running Vitality at the moment, I'm just leveling it. Since if I run Vitality now, and I try to use all my mines, I will run out of mana before I have them all down, since I can have 23 mines on the floor. So once I get in a line, I will probably start using Vitality, which is my plan with Stone Golem and Vitality, to stack them both, and then with the Ascendancy, get a respectable amount of regen. Probably still not that high compared to actual regen builds, but it's better than nothing. Then we have Sniper's Mark. Use this on bosses, so they take increased projectile damage, so it's pretty much like your boss curse nowadays. Treble Mind Damage, just leveling an extra gem here. I have Immortal Call, cast on damage taken, a Wave of Conviction, just to lower a little bit of debuff and defensives on bosses. And that's pretty much it for the gems, I think. I have Val Grace as well, and the rest of these gems are just leveling, except the Skitterbolt, of course. Don't forget to enchant your Amulet as well, since Efficient Explosives is very cheap and very good. As for the skill tree, exactly the same still. I've not really touched anything. I think it's just these 2 nodes. I'm gonna start taking this for a bit of fire damage. Since the Cluster Jewels are still a bit expensive to roll at the moment, so I decided to start taking some more damage nodes instead. Also the lab. Now, lab, you wanna first have Born in Shadow, then I go Bomb Specialist, and I go Pyromaniac. And after that, you should only go Demolition Specialist if you're playing Pyroclast mines. If you're playing any other mine, just go Explosive Expert. I'm even thinking to reswap this, depending on how much bossing I do, as opposed to mapping. But Demolition Specialist is very good for Pyroclast mines, gives it a lot more damage, so it's kind of really good for that. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna leave a POB, but my profile is public, so now and then you can just check my profile to see the changes I've made. But for now, I'm just gonna stick with this, probably get a little bit gear to get more life. As for money, I have about 70 chaos. I dropped an Exalt actually, and then I'm still doing Chaos Recipe a little bit. So I also made these boots. So I bought the boots actually for 20 chaos. When I went to run Uberlab, I used it twice enchanted, and on my second enchant I got the crit chance. Now I'm planning to use these boots, just currently cannot fit them in since I need the 3 red sockets and blue here. It would be pretty expensive to recolor these. But I'm not planning to sell them, I just have them listed just in case. I also found 2 Sogged Bubonics, but unfortunately they have not sold yet. So it's going pretty good, the league so far. The league mechanic itself, I've pretty much not touched it at all. I've done a couple of missions, but it wasn't too good, so I decided to leave it for now. And once I have a better build for it, or just more information about it, I will start doing them again. And before I leave you with just a map showcase, and so you can see the playstyle and the damage, I do want to kind of switch from Pyroclast mines, since the annoyance about Pyroclast is that the way you get the damage out of it is you have to throw all your mines, then you have to detonate once, wait a little bit, and then start throwing again. And this way you start getting the big sequence, and that's when the damage comes in. And the issue with this is that bosses like Awakener, for example, or like Hydra, when they move around, you kind of need a ramp up before your damage starts kicking in. So when you put all your mines here and you start detonating, and now Awakener starts moving, by that time you have a sequence going, Awakener's already outside the radius, so it's pretty hard to get your damage going on bosses like that. And on top of that, you also need to dodge attacks, stuff like that. So ideally I want to switch from Pyroclast mines, but for now it's just the best way to get damage quickly, since the skill on a Tremorald and with your Ascendancy gets so much damage already from stacking it up. So if you want a more updated thing, just look at my profile to see if I've switched already. The next test will most likely be Glacial Cascade Miner, and also another thing about this build is if I check my deaths, 39 deaths, which is actually not as much as it should have been. So just remember, especially my miner, it's a very glass cannon, I'm a softcore player.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.